My name is Katelyn Gordon, and I am running 192 miles from Sunbury, Pennsylvania to New York City. I heard about it on social media. At first I thought it was something that was crazy because it's just so extreme. But then the more I thought about it, I felt like it was something that I really kind of had to do. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I had actually only run a half marathon, and that was back in 2015 before I was diagnosed with MS. So it started back in 2018. I just had some tingling down my back and into my arms and legs when I would look down. And I just thought it was a really weird sensation. And then I went on Google and, all these bad things pop up and you hear about MS being one of them, and you kind of assume that it's not going to be that, but you fear for the worst. And then, so I went to a doctor and she originally thought it was a pinched nerve. But then a little bit later I did a turkey trot, that November 5K, and I had some vision issues. So I went back to see her and she sent me to a neurologist. And long story short, they did some MRIs, and actually on my 30th birthday I got the call that it was MS. So I instantly started a treatment to help hopefully prevent any relapses. But later that year, come October, I was actually running when I felt some real heaviness in my legs. And I had a hard time running. I just felt like my legs were struggling to keep me up. And when I got home, I had both my legs were full on spasming, shaking. I had never had any of this before, so it was pretty scary. You kind of know that's always a possibility when you have MS, that things like this can happen. A few days later, I ended up going to the emergency room, was admitted to the hospital for 3 nights, and found I had a big spinal lesion at C3 on my spinal cord. When I left, they didn't know what my walking would be like, what it would return to be, or if I'd ever be able to run again. So this was something that was really important to me, that I can do this right now. I've come close to not being able to run or walk again. So this meant a lot to me, to be able to know that I can do this now, and then if something happens in the future where MS decides to take something from me permanently, that I can always look back on this experience and know that I did everything I could with what I had at the time. So, as I just previously mentioned, it was just, right now I'm physically able to do this, not only for myself, but knowing that there are so many people with MS out there who cannot, who could wish they could go out and go for a run, and I'm also doing it for them. I would never take on something like this for myself. I would never put myself through this type of training, and it's a massive feat, and I would never just do that for myself personally. It has just as much to do with everyone else and how I can help everyone with MS along the way, and for those who need it the most. So coming in, it's always going to be more miles than you have put in training, but training is to help you be ready for this. But they said to not really have any expectations because so many things can happen. Focusing on the miles, and when you're in really difficult situations where you hurt, you just remember why you're doing this. Yes, for myself, but I also know that putting one foot in front of the other is a blessing. Being able to run is a blessing. I never thought that I would think that, but I came so close to not being able to do that your perspective changes completely on why you're doing something like this. So you just keep going, I can physically do this. I can do this. So many others can't. It's hard. It's without a doubt the hardest thing I will ever do. And I knew it was going to be hard. But when you get here and you really put in those miles, it takes a toll on your body, but I wouldn't change this for the world. I will always look back on this so fondly, despite my pains in my shins. I think that will take a backseat to the positives that have come through with this run. And I know that it's something that I will always have. But now that I'm doing this, the support has just been incredible. I didn't expect to have the outpouring of support from so many people who believe in me and what I'm doing, and I'm so grateful for that. To think that I just did what I did is insane. To think back when I first thought about it, is that actually possible? It is. You can do it. If you have the determination, you can do it. It was very humbling. You come in knowing that you've trained, you've put everything into it. You think about all the people, the 18 runners before me on my team who've done it. I mean, they all got us here. It's not just me. Yes, I did finish, but it's such a team effort. I have spent a whole year doing this fundraising, awareness, training. Like, this has given me so much purpose for a whole year, and I'm sure I will miss having something that's so meaningful. So I'm sure, it'll be a lot of reflection. It's hard. It's the hardest thing that I've ever done. I've worn a lot of jerseys in my life from playing soccer, but this is by far the most meaningful jersey I've worn, because it's helping so many people, and I've done something that I never in a million years thought that I would ever do. It will be life-changing. I 100% say go for it.